All right, guys, here I am. It's Royce here with another episode, 15 with Royce. Hope you guys enjoy the podcast. I had the pleasure to sit down with Steven Hamersky, a goalkeeper for the Wichita Wings right now in MASL 2. And I felt like it was a really great conversation, and I was really happy with how the podcast turned out and everything. So I hope you guys enjoy, and make sure to go down, if you're on YouTube watching this, make sure you go down and check out the link down below. I'm going to have a discount code coming super soon. I don't have my Hummel discount code yet, but we're working on it. Probably will get done beginning of the week next week. So stay tuned on my socials to make sure that you are the first person to see that when the link comes out. So I'm going to have my discount code. You guys are going to be hooked up with the discount, and it'll be nice, and it's good products. So go down and check them out on the link down below if you're watching on YouTube, and enjoy the podcast, guys. All right, guys, it's Royce, and I'm back with Steven Hamersky, goalkeeper in MASL 2 for the Wichita Wings, and I'm just going to kind of talk to him about his playing experience now. Growing up, kind of when did you start with football and kind of start touching the ball and stuff?
Probably when I was about five or six. I started playing and stuff, obviously with the cousins in the backyard and kids in the schoolyard and stuff. And then after that, joined one of the AYSO rec leagues just to see if I would take to it. And then some of the kids I became friends with on that team wanted to go play at a more competitive level at SCSA. And so my parents asked me if I wanted to. I was like, yeah, I want to stay with my friends. So then started playing more competitively, and kind of about that 10, 11, 12-year-old age range, kind of started making traveling trips, tournaments and stuff, and really started to compete.
Okay. And then through like high school, kind of like you just played through high school, or what was your
high school was kind of interesting. I would double roster for club, so I would play field for my age group, and then I'd play goalkeeper for the age up. So I was running two teams when I wasn't playing in high school for my school soccer. So, but high school soccer was kind of interesting because my team wasn't quite up to par with some of the other schools, right? The public schools would have, all these kids that played club, and my school had like 6 or 7. And all the good athletes wanted to go play for the football team. Then there was 2 or 3 of them that easily could have played soccer and started, but they wanted to go to the team that was winning state every year, so it kind of took away from our talent pool. So I actually played field up until my junior year. Okay. And then did you have experience at the collegiate level? Yeah, so I played Division II at Newman University. It was a decent time, but yeah, here in Kansas. So. Okay. And then after kind of your collegiate years, then like what has your experience been with football and at the kind of professional level or semi-professional level, and how have you kind of carried on with your career? So it's been kind of interesting. After my college, in college, I guess I went over the summer to go play MPSL in Vermont and in Pennsylvania and stuff. So that was pretty fun. Good experience. Could see the East Coast a little bit. But right about when I was graduating college, the Wings, they had folded like 2 or 3 years back, and then they were bringing back the B-52s in that first division for indoor. Well, the coach is pretty cool, so and I knew him a little bit, and so he had me go over there and play with them and stuff. So I got a little bit of experience with that, and then he took a job doing working in Iowa, Cedar Rapids, and so he's like, "Hey, Steve, we're starting a brand new team in Cedar Rapids. Do you want to come play?" I'm like, "Sure, yeah, let's go." So joined out there. It was a good time, good experience and stuff like that, and then just kind of bouncing around from MPSL and pro indoor. So okay, so now that we kind of got that out of the way, with the questions of just kind of like, you're an undersized goalkeeper, I'm an undersized goalkeeper, so it's going to be a good conversation here. But anyway, so like first question, when you played 11-a-side, how did you just kind of adapt your game, and how did you adjust to being an undersized goalkeeper? So, it's pretty crazy because, like, at 6 foot, almost 6'1", you wouldn't think that I was undersized, but I am. I'm not very wide. I'm more of a speed and agility kind of guy, but I have really good feet. So I think how I adjusted was I became that 11th field player, which is what a lot of colleges are looking for out of the keepers anyway. But also, like, my speed and agility, I think, really helped me adapt. And, I don't feel like it should be such an issue as far as a goalkeeper's ability to perform, whether or not they're 6'3" as opposed to 6 foot, But, my speed and decision making, I think, helped me adapt.
Okay. So playing in the United States and just kind of not just within football but without sports, we look for those athletes and we look for, big guys that have that, sense of athleticism there. And so how does kind of that, like, your experiences compare from kind of athleticism and that kind of being like a requirement in a way throughout sports in the United States versus kind of just your decision making and your ability to play and stuff, and how did you kind of did you like miss out on any collegiate opportunities or professional opportunities because of kind of having decision making as more of a skill set opposed to having maybe just size and athleticism?
Well, I think if we kind of take it a different route with that, I think I missed out on opportunities collegiately and even semi-professionally, professionally, because I came from Wichita, Kansas. It's like that's not on any radar,
Right.
Like Kansas City is on the radar, Dallas is on the radar, Tulsa is even on the radar. But if you're coming from Wichita, you could be a baller. But, realistically, you're not on anybody's radar, you know? And I made the mistake of, thinking that going Division II I'd have enough exposure. I didn't know anything, right? My dad didn't play any sports collegiately. He was more of a educational guy. He played basketball growing up, but when you're 6'6", you kind of have to play basketball. You're forced into it. So,
right.
But yeah, man. I think a lot of it. May not be so much pertaining to my ability as it is like, who are you? Where did you come from? Mm-hmm. Oh, you played Division II? Nah, okay. Oh, you're 6 foot, 165, 170? Nah, you're just not hitting these marks. We need these check boxes. And one thing I learned from a lot of my college buddies that were foreign and stuff, and the guys I played on with different of the semi-pro teams and third division outdoor and stuff, it was interesting to hear their take, because it's like, America, obviously it's changing, right? So I just want to put a disclaimer that it's changing. But at the time when I was in college, Americans were big, fast, and strong. We weren't technical. We weren't really sound, as a unit. We were just big, fast, and strong, and that allowed us to compete because of our athleticism. And I think that for any sport in America, big, fast, and strong is what you look for. And so, of course, that was translated into soccer, which is more of a, it's more of a chess game and not a checkers game. And so that's where I think some of it is changing here in the culture, at least.
Yeah, no, I definitely had that experience when I went to Sweden and they were like, oh, we're getting American. They were like so disappointed and they're like, what is this? I was just like, sorry. But yeah, okay, next question. So like how did you maybe react to kind of like missing out on opportunities because of the size issue, and kind of how did you react as a younger footballer kind of to just different situations of not being able to make it because of the size, and just you kind of feeling like it's irrelevant? Because that's kind of like where I'm at a lot, where it's just like they'll be like, oh, well, like the size is an issue, and I'm just like, well, like I outperformed this person and this person, and so it's kind of a frustrating thing for me. But I'm also like a really young footballer, so how did you at your age kind of deal with that?
So no, man, I feel that there's an NPSL team I played for, and they brought in this foreign guy who was 6'3", 6'4", and I felt like, even though, because the NPSL team had just played a USL team, right? We played the Tulsa Roughnecks, and I did really well. I had a really good game. Size wasn't really a factor there. They had a 6'5" forward that I came out and was still winning balls out of the air with, because I'm an aggressive keeper. But as soon as an opportunity arose, they swapped me out because, oh, well, he's foreign and he's 6'4", so it's like, are you kidding me? Like, I haven't done anything to lose my position. Why am I, So I do feel like, a lot of it comes from where you came from, what clubs you played for or wherever. But, I do think height is, it's too focused on when overall ability, because my goals against average is really good.
Yeah.
So it's like, but the issue is that we were a really solid team. So even when they put him in there, you weren't going to see anything that justified them to change their decision,
Right.
So it was like, nothing to justify me coming out, but nothing to justify him coming out. So
Right.
it was cool. I mean, like at the end of the day, like when you're younger, obviously, it's frustrating and stuff, but it's different too, right? I knew I wasn't going to be a footballer my whole life, it's nice that I have that opportunity to play professional indoor. But for somebody who this is their end goal is MLS. Their end goal is first division somewhere. Their end goal is to live 5 years living just off of what they made from soccer.
Right.
They might take it different, right? Obviously, when you're younger, you're gonna it's gonna sting. But the main thing is you never know when that opportunity is gonna come up, right?
Right.
So it's like you can't hold it against that goalkeeper. Me and the guy that they swapped me out for, we were good friends. We still text to this day, even though he's back home in Scotland. But it's, I don't know, man. It's,
yeah.
You just kind of got to just take it, just
For
like
sure.
anything in life. It's not necessarily fair.
Do you feel like that there's like anything you could have like reacted in like a different way at a younger age? Like, because I know me, like I get pretty fired up. Like,
yeah,
when something happens, I mean, like I'm not gonna say anything to like the organization because that's
no,
just
for sure, no, that's
unprofessional.
childish. Yeah.
But like, and so I'm
You
like,
internalize it.
my mentality is like good enough where I'm not gonna do that. But then also at the same time, I'm just like kind of like behind bars, like like.
Well,
it
the
feels
thing is,
some
man,
way.
try and talk to that coach and stuff. Like, and the thing that really, really, really got to me at the time was I went to the head coach and I was like, "Hey, what can I do to get my spot back?" And he's like, "Well, your feet. You need to work on your feet." And like at that point, I knew it wasn't strictly about my ability as a goalkeeper. It was more about, oh, well, he's taller, so he's better. Because my feet were way better than his, right?
Right.
I was an all-city forward in my junior year of high school, and then my senior year when the coach switched me to goalkeeper, I was an all-city goalkeeper. So it's like I have played with my feet constantly. I've had the experience of professional indoor, which is essentially futsal, right? Like you have to have good feet as a goalkeeper, because there's so many times I'm one-on-one with the forward, or I have to dribble out of trouble, or do a cheeky pass and get it around him. So it's like I knew that was not the reason. So that's what really perturbed me. If he would have been straight up with me and have been like, "Look, I think Mark has more potential." Okay, like give me something.
Right.
But to reach and give me that bullshit line. Sorry, I don't know if I can say that on there.
Dude, I don't care.
Okay, but to reach and give me that BS line, that really I was just over it at that point. I was like, this guy's not even paying attention.
Yeah.
Like if you would have said Mark's just more dominant in the air, okay, I can't argue. So it's like, I don't know, man. It was just frustrating.
Yeah. Because I know, like, I've got some, like, I would rather have a straightforward answer.
Yeah.
And I'm just very confrontational.
Yeah.
And so then it's just like when I don't get that, it's just like, please tell me you do not want me, or you, like, don't want
Like, let me waste my time
Right.
somewhere else,
Yes,
Like,
for sure. So, just kind of, dude, we're going to get this wind in here.
Oh, I know. It's crazy.
But anyways, so, like, I guess, I don't know, I feel like maybe you kind of touched on this like a little bit without even really kind of thinking about it, but like did you feel kind of like discouraged in a way of trying to like struggling to kind of get an outdoor professional contract and kind of going the MASL route, or it was just like, oh, I'm just glad like I can kind of continue my football career?
Well, so it's funny you ask because like so my father he knew I'd wanted to play pro soccer forever, right? And coming out of college, right, because his main thing was you have to get a degree so you have something to fall back on if you get injured,
Right.
So I was like, okay, cool, knock it out. So I got my degree, and then I was like, okay, it's time to go. Well, my dad, we had real close with him. We talked about it, and he's like, look, I will support you however you need it, right? If you need money or something throughout this endeavor, that's fine. But if you don't have a professional outdoor contract by 25, right, I need you to get a real job. And I was like, cool, done. Well, so I graduated college at 21, right? Went and chased it for 3 years. Wasn't getting any looks, and I can't fault everything being, the height or, just woe is me, kind of thing. I wanted it, but I also didn't put in all the extra work necessary. Now, I think I performed really well, but, it's always that, what could I have done different kind of thing.
Right.
And so realizing about 24 years old, I was like, I don't think this is going to snag it because, just like anything else, if you're not on the radar by 22, 23, 24, for any team, realistically, you're not getting looked at, So
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, well, so I called it a day, went back home, and I got a real job. So, and then that's when the comments in MASL1 were like, hey, kind of interested. So I played for them for 3 years while juggling work. and playing for them. And then the Wings came in and they were like, hey, we're starting a team. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. You know, it's hometown. So
Right. Okay. And then so like I guess so far with your experience with MASL, you feel pretty good about kind of like the route that you've taken thus far, and from what you've kind of said so far, and just kind of like explain your being kind of a MASL veteran, kind of explain your experience within MASL and how you like it, and just kind of the dynamic of it, because this is like a podcast made for players to just kind of understand different dynamics and different things, because football's so crazy and there's so many different routes and things going on. So just kind of explain your experience with your years with MASL.
So MASL is pretty interesting. For those of you that don't know, it's 6 aside, right? You've got a goalkeeper, then you have 5 field players, 2 defenders usually, 1 midfielder, and then 2 forwards. But it's similar to hockey. You've got walls. If it goes out of bounds, it's you start it from the line next to the wall, you play it in. Obviously there's different rules and stuff as far as set pieces go. But the crazy thing is like a different dynamic completely. As a goalkeeper, you want to keep your feet more, right? And outdoor, if it's even close, you're going to dive to cover that post. But if in indoor, if you think it's wide, you have to just shuffle and hold it wide. You wouldn't sell yourself, because once you're on the ground, if that ball goes wide, it's coming off the wall and they're going to smash it right back in your face. So it's one of those, it's like, okay, it's going wide, I'm going to come cover my angle, find the proper way it's going to come off, and then just get set for the next shot. So it's crazy, man. I mean, your average score line could be anywhere from 11 to 10, 9 to 6. I mean, it's some high scoring games. It's a lot of fun, and it really challenges you as a goalkeeper, because you're essentially a field player. There's no futsal rules where they can't play it back to you. So there's been plenty of times where defender will get stuck, he'll play me a ball back, and then all of a sudden it's me versus the forward, and I have to be confident enough and be good enough with my feet to get around him.
Right.
So.
Okay. So have you felt like kind of being undersized? We've talked a lot about being undersized. Have you felt any advantages with like playing MASL with the goal being smaller, given your size as an undersized goalkeeper? Again,
I still don't think it's like that much of a detriment, but for indoor, even if you were taller, I mean, because like there's the certain spreads you do. I feel like the first time I really saw it was Schmeichel. When he would do that spread, it was just incredible. But the indoor games kind of already had that too, so it was cool to see that at that level. So I just worked on that a lot and stuff. But I mean, like height, if I was any taller, it'd be an advantage in this game too, because you can only cover so much of the goal when you spread.
Right.
And so I mean, we have a guy on our practice team right now. He's 6'6". If he gets this indoor game down, I'll be out of a job, dude, because when he spreads, he's covering the whole goal,
Right,
so
right.
it's it's a little bit of an advantage, but my speed is really kind of what takes that. But I wouldn't say it is a smaller goal, which helps, but I've always been able to cover my post because I'm so quick and I can jump. It is nice, it's fun, but you still have those upper 90 saves that just look phenomenal, so
okay. What kind of advice would you give to me or just any other kind of undersized goalkeeper who could maybe be going through some type of moment in their career where they're kind of getting kind of discouraged for maybe being undersized, or kind of going through different opportunities and kind of struggling to find opportunity maybe because they're undersized, and just trying to kind of pursue a career with football?
I think at the end of the day, you just got to find your niche, right? And I think my niche is within the indoor game. And so I was fortunate enough to find that because somebody was like, hey, come play. And I was like, cool, all right. And then all of a sudden I was like, wow, this is really fun. I get to use my feet, which I'm good at, and then I get to play goalkeeper, which I love. So it was it was a great mix. So, I mean, it really just finding your niche, right? And I'm not going to sit here and tell you, keep working hard, it's going to happen. I mean, realistically, it might not. But the thing is you have to be able to come to terms with the fact that I tried. I did everything I could. It's not within my power, right? And so part of the difference is, for me, looking back now, obviously, when I was, because I'm 27 now, almost 28, but when I was 22, 23, I was like, why am I not getting these opportunities, blah, blah, blah. Well, at the same time, now, 27, 28, it's like, I could have gone and worked out more. I could have gone and, worked on my touches more, not that it would have changed necessarily anything in my game, but, just to, there's still stuff you can do, So it's like you really have to buckle down and be like, am I doing everything possible for me to succeed.
Right.
You know, it's not so much. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some guys, like one of the guys I beat out in Pennsylvania. He played for the Rowdies. He was, in my opinion, really wasn't amazing. Like, you know, he was 6'6". He'd get chipped. He wouldn't come out on crosses. And, like, you have that much of a gift. Like, you are blessed with height. And you don't come out on crosses.
Right. You gotta get
and you're thick. Like, he's a naturally thicker guy. So it was like, I was like, how? Like, I wish I had that, you know? So, you know, your opportunity will come, you know? It's just, you got to make sure you're ready for it when it comes, and then, you know, find your niche. And really, I mean, the main thing is you've really got to make sure you're doing everything possible. And when I say everything, I'm not talking like, you know, I go to the gym every day. Oh, I work on my touches every day. Okay. Right. Are you doing it for 2 hours a day? Are you doing it for this much a day? Are you creating highlight reels for yourself to send out to these coaches to make sure if there is a lead, right? Because there's been plenty of teams where like, oh man, we've only got one keeper. He's our backup because our first got hurt, you know?
Right.
If you're constantly emailing these coaches, right, and sending them these highlight videos, you know, they'll be like, oh, well, actually, we have a keeper just blew his ACL. We need somebody to come up.
Right.
All of a sudden, there's your in, right? So are you doing everything necessary to truly give yourself the best opportunity, or are you just going to be like, oh, I'm putting myself out there kind of, and then I'm not getting what I want, so, oh, this is BS, you know, it's stacked against me, you know. So back to the height thing, you know, I do feel like it is sometimes a detriment, but you can still find your way in, you know? So it's where do we lose that victim mentality, and where do we go to, okay, I'm going to make this work. So
be proactive.
Yeah, you know, it's hard. I get it, man, because I was there too. I was like, man, I'm not getting any looks. Like, yeah, NPSL is cool. I can start an NPSL team. Cool, you know, 3rd Division outdoor. Woohoo. But it was like, you know, these USL teams, they're like I went to a couple tryouts and stuff, and they had already signed their 3rd keeper, and I'm like, why the hell am I here? You know?
Yeah.
Like, you guys aren't even looking. Like why spend the money on bringing me in? Like, so it was like it was insane, man. You know, but at the same time, I didn't email every team in the league.
Yeah.
I didn't send them an email, you know, every 2 months or every 3 months or something. You know, I didn't look at other countries and email and be like, hey, this is my video. I'm an American. This is where I'm from. I've got my passport, you know, let's figure this out. Yeah. I didn't do that. So I can't sit here and complain like, oh man, it's all because of my height, you know, that's why I didn't make it. You know, part of it's on me too.
Right. And I know, like, for me, like right now, so like you've got like you said, kind of like finding that niche. It's super difficult right now because it's like there's a certain group of coaches that are like okay with you being undersized, and that's what you need to look into, and you don't know who it is, but you're emailing everybody, but you just need that one person that says yes.
Yeah, that's it.
But then like also too, then you've got like COVID right now, which is also detrimental to
I did not have to go through that while I was looking.
And then I'm kind of also at that weird age where it's like, okay, like I'm just like making kind of like some first team appearances, but then I'm also kind of like at that age where I could go into like an academy, but then it's like I'm starting to get old for like academies if they don't have like U23s, maybe they got U20 or something like that, and it's just like it's crazy because it's like there's so many different factors right now where I'm kind of like almost out of this, but I'm not quite in this yet, and I'm kind of like at that, in a way, like a soccer puberty stage.
Yeah,
like,
No,
I'm not like
that.
Yeah, and I'm waiting to fill out here like upper body. I'm putting in the reps, but it's like not just like happening.
Sometimes
yet.
people, it's slower.
God's like just like waiting for it to happen, I guess.
Listen, man, I've been the same weight since college, bro. And I eat all the time, like 3-4 meals a day, you know, big meals, and it's like I just can't keep it on. So it's like, you know, it sucks, but you know, it's it's
I know. And so many people have been like, oh yeah, you need to get bigger, Royce, and I'm like trying as hard as possible, but then like I'm not just gonna go eat cupcakes all day.
I actually got to the point where a guy's like, dude, you need to bulk up. I'm like, look, dude, steroids are illegal, all right, and that's the only way I would get bigger. So I'm stuck, man. What do you want from me, you know?
Right, yeah. But anyways, that was a great conversation. This is 15 with Royce, and thanks for having the time to take to do the podcast.
Pleasure to do it, man. Thanks.